The following portion of Studio 512 is sponsored by the Travel Mom. Hey, if you're looking for a spot to capture the spirit of Halloween, look no further. Our friend Emily Kaufman, the Travel Mom, is just back from a place that is ready to host you for some family-friendly fun, and we love having her on the show. Emily, good morning.
Well, good morning, my friend. I'm not just back from there. I'm actually here at Great Wolf Lodge. Great Wolf Lodge is the perfect place to have a howlin' good time because it's their Halloween season right now. And that means they've got all kinds of decor, festivities, food and drink, including a nightly Monster Bash family-friendly dance party where kids wear costumes. Sometimes the grown-ups do too. They've got a trick-or-treat trail where you can get sweet treats, including Haribo gummies. They've also got an arts and crafts station where kids can make projects they take home, and an outdoor maze with bales of hay, creating the perfect environment to celebrate Halloween.
And it looks so wonderful and safe too. I know that that's a really big deal for parents, that you can do all your trick-or-treating in one wonderful spot where everybody's dressed up and excited to see you. I want to ask about special food and drink items for the Halloween festivities.
Well, Halloween definitely is a time for good food and good drink, and you won't be disappointed with Great Wolf Lodge. In fact, they've created a spook easy experience with bubbly, and the kids can come make their special potions over a witch's cauldron, and they've got some adult potions and beverages as well. And they've got seasonal favorites like pumpkin milkshakes and a howlin' wagyu burger, so there's really something for everyone to enjoy.
I'm really impressed by that black burger. It looks appropriate and spooky for the season. Have to know about you, Emily. You travel the world, my friend. You come to us all the time from different destinations. What is it that you enjoy about Great Wolf Lodge?
You know, Rosie, I'm a water slide fanatic. And they've got an indoor water park at Great Wolf Lodge. So no matter what the weather is outside, it's 82 degrees and wonderful inside. They've got the water slides, the lazy river, and so much more. And there are also so many other family-friendly activities to choose from. There's bowling and mini golf. There's a ropes course, an arcade, and something called Magic Quest that is so much fun. And the best place to learn about planning a trip to Great Wolf is to go to greatwolf.com.
Sounds good to me. And if I know you like I think I do, you almost always have a little giveaway on hand that includes some fun with the family. Is that what's happening for Great Wolf Lodge?
Oh, absolutely. I don't like to just talk about great places. I like to make them available to everybody. So I'm teaming up with Great Wolf to give a stay for up to 2 adults and 2 kids, including some wolf passes. All you have to do is go to my social media at the Travel Mom on Facebook and Instagram to enter and follow along and see what I love so much about Great Wolf.
Sounds good to me. And okay, before we let you go, learning a little bit more about you and a little bit more about Great Wolf Lodge, where can we go for both things?
Greatwolf.com.
Sounds good to me. Emily, thank you so much for your time. And I just have to tell you before I let you go, happy Halloween. I love the orange top. It looks fabulous on you, my friend.
Thank you.
Lovely. All right, guys, the preceding portion of Studio 512 was sponsored by the Travel Mom. The following portion of Studio 512 is sponsored by the Texas Tribune Festival, presented by J.P. Morgan Chase. Step inside the conversations shaping the future of education, the economy, healthcare, energy, arts, and more at the 15th Annual Texas Tribune Festival. It's happening November 13th through 15th in downtown Austin. Matt Ewalt is here to tell us more about what to expect. Yeah. Matt, good morning.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here.
You are in charge of big events like this, so if you wouldn't mind, please just remind us about the Texas Trib Festival. Back for its 15th year. Yeah. I told you, speak to me like I'm a big dum-dum because I've never gone.
So Trib Fest has been part of the Tribune's journalism since we were founded 15 years ago. And the idea is to bring Texans together to have conversations about issues that are impacting our community. And we've been doing it for 15 years.
Yeah. And so this year, I think it always gets kind of like bigger, better, that sort of thing. What can attendees expect, and any big moments that you're excited about? You actually said instead of the big headliners, which yes, we are excited about, it's the kind of smaller conversations that you think people will really connect with.
So it's both, right? It's we just had a big full talent announcement today,
which is so huge. The lineup was just announced, y'all.
Yeah. So Tim Walz, Minnesota governor, and
former vice
VP
presidential
nominee.
candidate. Yeah.
We have Vicente Fox, former president of Mexico, Paula Kerger, CEO of PBS. A number of big speakers joining us. And you're right. I mean, those folks see those names and really want to hear directly from these leaders about the world. But it's also the case that we're convening conversations about issues that impact people at a personal level or in a community level. Conversations about the future of public education. Conversations about where is philanthropy in 2025, and what does it look like in terms of supporting organizations and people in our community. And we find people gravitate towards those in part because it's what they care deeply about, and they want to take that information with them back to their communities.
Well, and it's so great then because you get to meet other people who are thrilled about it, and maybe policymakers, change makers who you didn't really know before this festival, who now you understand, they're on the same page that I am.
Yeah, it's meeting folks, including those who are on our stage, that do share some of the same ideas as us, but it's also an opportunity where you step into that space, these spaces at festival, where you're getting to know people who don't necessarily share the exact same views as you, but hopefully in this spirit of engaging one another and listening, we walk away with some new ideas and more motivated in terms of how we can impact our communities.
Yeah, really good points there. I'm going to ask you to reflect on for us on 15 years. We actually brought you in just 2.5 years ago because you are so good at what you do. We brought you in from out of state. But can you just touch on for me how the festival and Austin have changed during that time? Because the truth is these things go hand in hand. What we're covering, the issues we're talking about have changed as Austin has changed.
Yeah, I mean, I'll look, in terms of how the festival has changed, part of it is the reputation of the festival. And you will take a look at the names of those joining us. They recognize the importance not only of being part of TribFest, being in Austin and engaging Texans. They know how consequential a state Texas is. What happens here impacts the rest of the country. And we see that more and more each year. In terms of how Austin has changed, I'd say it's about how communities have changed. I think 5 years out of a pandemic, we're yearning to find those spaces to be with one another again, right? Those third spaces, and there's a lot of those third spaces at festival. But just to go back to that aspect of our politics, I think there's something about how overwhelmed we can be with the noise of our politics these days that can create some distance from the impact we want to have. If we're doing our job right at festival, you're brought in a way and feel empowered by not only what you're learning, the people you're meeting, and not just with what's wrong, but rather what you can do to be part of what's right.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think so many people feel, maybe they feel like everything's going really well, or maybe they don't, but it's hard to feel like you have individual impact at this time. So I think that's a really good point to make about the festival. I would like to ask, who'd be a good attendee?
Yeah.
I did ask off camera, do I have to be really good at politics? Do I need to have taken civics in the last 10 years?
Yeah, and look, when you throw out the term politics and policy festival, people are going to assume you have to be a politics junkie watching the news each and every night, or that you're a policy wonk of some kind. And we certainly have those who are deeply invested in public education or healthcare joining us. But the way in which the festival comes together is that this is intended to be as accessible, a festival and conversations. Anyone who cares about their kids and the schools, the future of the schools they're going to, wondering about the water crisis in the state and whether we're going to be able to solve those issues. Don't worry about the expertise you bring. It's the curiosity you bring and that kind of openness that all of a sudden those policy wonks are going to learn as much from you as you will from them.
Policy wonks. But really good points there, especially about how we are so individually impacted by a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about at the festival. I do want to ask about how tickets work because it is a 3-day event.
That's right.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so a few options here. Yes, tickets are for 3 days of the festival. I do want to give a plug to students and educators out there. We have a significant discount for both students and educators. That's because they need to be part of those conversations. But I also want to plug what we call Open Congress, which on Saturday, most programs we have for festival, we open up Congress Avenue with tents and all sorts of additional activities. That is actually free and open to the public. So even if you look at TribFest and you say, I'm not sure of whether I want to put money down for a ticket, obviously we'd love for you to join us in that capacity. There are opportunities there to just take a chance. It could be we're doing conversations about how we can best support the next generation, or and along those lines we're actually having a conversation about Gen Z politics and what that next generation of politics are looking at and how they're shaping the world. Those are just two examples of opportunities at Open Congress that are free. And so find some time on Saturday, bring the family and join us for a little bit.
Sounds good. And then a good reminder there that students are a big portion of this, which is why those discounted tickets are available for them and educators, right?
That's right. That's right. Well, look, I mean, the fact is that if young people aren't part of the conversations we're having, then we're failing and we're not going to impact the future the way we'd like. So we really do prioritize young people shaping the conversations at TribFest.
I want to get them invested.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good to me. It sounds like it's going to be really, I've used this word in the last week, but cerebral, but in an interesting and really fascinating way. So thank you so much for your time, Matt. We appreciate
glad to be
it.
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys, you can get your tickets now and see all the different options, including learning more about Open Congress at tribfest.org. The preceding portion of Studio 512 was sponsored by the Texas Tribune Festival, presented by J.P. Morgan Chase. The following portion of Studio 512 was sponsored by CPI Health. Capital Pain Institute offers comprehensive pain management services that are tailored to each and every patient that walks through the door. Dr. Andrew Phillips is here to tell us more today. And Dr. Phillips, I want to start with what comprehensive pain management actually means for someone who might be dealing with chronic pain.
Yes, so when we have patients coming through the door, we want to make sure that we figure out exactly what's going on. So sometimes that involves some investigation with some more imaging or about some other studies or tests. Also just taking into account that everyone's pain is a little bit different. So we also start things a little bit more conservatively, maybe some physical therapy, trying to find other ways to try to minimize pain medication and other types of medications.
All right, Dr. Phillips, what kind of conditions do you guys typically treat here at CPI?
Yes, so we treat a whole host of conditions and all types of pain. So we have muscle pains, we have joint pains that we see nerve pains, whether it's chronic, things like diabetic neuropathies in the feet we see a lot of the time as well. Things like complex regional pain syndrome is another condition that we see. We see most often a lot of stuff in the neck and the back as well.
Okay, all right. What's your advice to someone who actually thinks, yeah, I've just got to live with the pain? They might have even been told that by a doctor.
I hear that all the time, and the first thing I say to them is, you do not need to live with the pain. They come in here and they've learned to do their daily lives, but in a way that they're struggling. And there are just so many things that we can do to really help their pain. It can affect you physically, it can affect you mentally, it can affect you emotionally, it affects relationships, it affects mood. And to try to get to the source of the pain, you're able to help so many aspects of life, and you don't need to live with it.
All right, Dr. Phillips, what kind of advanced procedures does CPI offer for people who maybe haven't found relief through other treatments yet?
Right, so we have a whole host of things that we can do. So we typically start with the most conservative first, right? We want to do the least amount of stuff that's possible to give you the relief that you're looking for. So with that, once we figure out what's going on, things are like injections, right? Something like an epidural steroid injection, totally different than a pregnancy epidural, I promise you. It is very finessed and looking to try to reduce inflammation around nerves.
I did ask you earlier, and I'd like you to talk about this on camera, is basically, does someone need to know what's wrong with their back in order to walk through the door here?
They definitely do not. Really, you know, when people hear about back pain, you know, they hear about back pain from their family and their friends, and they're like, I have back pain, you have back pain, you did this, I did this. The thing is, not one treatment is the same for everyone. So what our goal is, you come in the door, we will do everything possible to figure out what's going on.
Detectives as well as doctors,
Absolutely,
and big on
absolutely.
teamwork. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate your time, Dr. Phillips. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Capital Pain Institute has multiple locations in the Austin area. Find the one nearest you at capitalpain.com. The preceding portion of Studio 512 was sponsored by CPI Health. Welcome back, everybody. The Science Mill in Johnson City offers hands-on learning and interactive experiences for kiddos. And you know what? Adults learn something too. And their brand new exhibit, STEM in the Wild, opens this weekend. Joining us now is wildlife artist and conservationist Jerry Ayer to tell us a little bit more. Jerry, good morning.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Let's talk about your work and why this new exhibit is so important.
Well, it's very important because we really want to promote conservation through education, because we feel that if people learn about animals, then they're more likely to protect them and respect them than if they don't know. They just don't seem to care as much.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit more empathy, sympathy for the animal, especially if you know that they're endangered.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we've had an impact on their habitat, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. I mean, everything we do impacts these animals, right? And so it's super important. And I just want to let everybody know that all the specimens in our exhibit, they were all donated from zoos and sanctuaries. They all perished from natural causes, and they're just used for education now.
Okay, yeah, that's an important note that you want to get across to folks. And so the two really beautiful animals that we've got here on the table today, where did these two come from?
Well, this is the North American river otter. It's probably the most abundant of all the otter species, but surprisingly little is known about their life in the wild. They tend to live alone or in pairs, but they do socialize in large groups. There's some really interesting characteristics they have. If you see his eyes and his ears, they're located high on the top of his head, and that's for surface swimming. But he's a great diver too. He has specialized muscles in his nose and his ears that close them, and it keeps water from getting in there. He can dive almost 40 feet deep. He can hold his breath for like 4 minutes. He has specialized hairs that when they're wet, they trap microscopic air bubbles, and that keeps him buoyant, but more importantly, it acts as an insulator, so it keeps him warm from that cold water. Now, when he's diving deep under the water, he has a really interesting physical adaptation. It's called a translucent nictitating membrane.
Translucent nictitating membrane.
Yes.
Okay, we're learning today.
You got it. And that's basically an inner eyelid that is clear that he rolls over his eyeballs. So when he's down there swimming around, he has protection, but he can also still see. So he's got his own built-in otter goggles.
Otter goggles. And I always think of otters so sweet. They kind of lay on their backs. They keep their babies on their bellies. They're really good with tools.
Oh, they have some primitive tool use. They'll lay on their back and put like a little snail on their belly, and they'll use a rock and they'll crack it. And sometimes they'll even keep that rock in a little fold of skin called the otter pocket, and they're known to keep that for a long time. Now, they're not a marsupial, so they don't have a pouch, but they can actually keep that
It's like
rock.
a purse.
Yeah. An otter pocket, yes.
That is so cool. And I will say, largely I've only seen sea otters before today, and I've seen some river otters that quite frankly scare me. This is a smaller breed.
Yes. Sea otters are much larger than their counterpart, the North American river otter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, and then you said King Julian.
Yes.
I like to move it.
Yes,
This is
yes.
A ring-tailed lemur.
It's a ring-tailed lemur, native to Madagascar, right? As you can see, he's got really bushy fur. He can groom his entire body with his teeth, and we call that the fur comb. Now, there is one spot that he can't groom, and that's his head. Now, he has a specialized claw on the second digit of each back foot called the toilet claw. Now, he can groom his head with that, but he can also groom other parts.
Okay.
So,
The toilet
but
claw.
as you can imagine, when he's grooming his hair, his teeth can get very clogged with fur. And so he has a very unique adaptation. He has a hard nodule on the bottom of his tongue that fits perfectly between his teeth. So when they get clogged up, he just runs that little nodule through his teeth and cleans them out. It's like his own built-in lemur floss.
Lemur floss. The amount of adaptations that these animals have picked up over the years is just absolutely incredible. And I'm guessing this is what I'm going to call a prehensile tail. Does it grip things?
Well, it's kind of he can't really hang from a tree with it very well.
Okay.
Maybe in the cartoon he did, you know, but
Right.
but he does use a tail.
That skews what I know about
Yes.
these actual
Well,
animals.
he can prop himself up with it, and you know, a distinguishing characteristic is those black and white stripes. Well, each individual lemur can contain between 23 and 27 tail bones or vertebrae. Well, one thing's for sure, each stripe indicates where there is a bone. So no matter how many stripes that lemur has, that's how many bones he's going to have as well. But they use their tail for something that's kind of fun. It's very interesting. The males will have what are called stink fights. Now, they have glands at their wrists and armpits that excrete a very pungent pheromone.
Ew.
So when it's time to find a girlfriend, they will take the tip of their tail and they will rub it on those spots, and then two lemurs will get face to face and kind of square off, and then it looks like they're going to have a confrontation, and they'll wave their tail in front of the other one's nose, and when one of them decides that the other one is stinkier than he is, confrontation is avoided and the winner gets the girl. That's love.
To stink someone out. That's how you get the girl. That is
Yes.
really fascinating.
Yes.
Okay, you are teaching me so much. I just feel like we could hang out for a real
yeah.
long time, but unfortunately we're in our last minute here.
Yes.
So you've got weekly presentations happening during your exhibit, and it looks a lot like this, right?
Yes, we have a variety of animals. I mean, to give you a little teaser, we've got lions, tigers, bears. Oh my!
Oh my.
I mean, we've got anteater, aardvark, leopard, wolf, sloth. There's all sorts of variety. That's going to be fun for adults and kids. You know, for people of all ages.
And not only that, but some really interesting information about like lemurs in the wild, 1,800 left. Lemurs in North America, 8,000.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, there's
they're in
they're
captivity.
critically endangered in their natural habitat, but we have, you know, quite a few in private collections and zoos and sanctuaries just in America alone.
Wow, so much information you can learn. So even as an adult, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm having a really good time.
Yeah, well, and that's the goal of it. We want visitors to come in and enjoy what they learn, in hopes that they're going to share that with other people, and that will kind of promote the conservation of wildlife by education.
Absolutely. You are amazing at what you do, Jerry. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you
time.
so much.
We appreciate it. To get more information on the new STEM in the Wild exhibit, so cool. It's going to be a ton of fun. Check out sciencemill.org or follow them on social media at ScienceMill. The following portion of Studio 512 is sponsored by Landers Premier Flooring. Are your floors stained, cracked, peeling, or maybe just from the 1970s? Maybe it's time to invest in some new floors. We've got Stephanie Landers of Landers Premier Flooring here to tell us a little bit more. And Stephanie, first question is, what makes y'all special besides the fact that you're a family-run business? You've been here decades.
20 years.
Yeah.
20 years, yes. We're a local Austin family-run business. I think the biggest thing is just our people. I mean, our people are fantastic. They have an average of 10 years experience in the floor covering industry. They're just consummate professionals when it comes to flooring, and they're here to help you pick out the best flooring.
What steps should someone take if they are considering new floors? Because I think the first thing, well, it's me. I'm a homeowner who's thinking, oh, these don't look so good anymore.
Right.
But it can be, to your point, a little bit overwhelming, a little bit daunting.
Right.
Do I even like the shade of this floor? What if it was transformed with a new design?
Exactly.
What should we do? What steps should we take?
Well, I think the first thing you should do is just come on into our showroom. We're in a convenient location in North Austin off of Burnett Road. And just come on in, or if you'd like, you can make an appointment. We also offer before and after hours appointments to fit with your schedule. But come on in, meet with your design consultant, talk to them about your lifestyle, you know, your budget, what's important to you. Do you have pets? Do you have kids? You know, how much maintenance do you want to do with your floor? Talk to them about those things, and they'll help guide you to the right products here in our showroom. But we have another fantastic tool called the Roomvo Visualizer that we love to use.
Yeah, actually, I gave you a picture of Studio 512.
Yeah.
We've got some cameras in the mix.
Yep.
But it gives us the option to see what our flooring would look like different.
And we're going to pick some fun flooring. We're going to change colors. We're going to do carpet patterns. We're going to take a look at what your studio could look like. So it offers us that ability. If you come in with a photo of your house. We can show you what the floors would look like. We can compare dark floors, light floors, but don't worry, even if you don't have a photo, there's stock photos we can use of bedrooms, living rooms, dining rooms, whatever, to kind of show you what the flooring can look like. It's really a fun thing to look at.
Let's talk about why it's so important to come into the store versus maybe scrolling around online or something
well,
like that.
I think online you just really don't get a good look at the coloration, and color is so important. It is a fashion decision in addition to an investment, but it's a fashion decision too. We're there to help you to maintain that investment in your home. You know, we offer quality products, excellent installation, top-notch customer service, so you can really think of us like your safety net for preserving that investment in your home. We offer you a lifetime installation guarantee.
Very interesting information. Thank you so much for being so passionate about what you do,
Rosie.
Stephanie.
We love it. Thank you.
Visit the showroom in person or call to schedule a free consultation appointment at 512-873-9470. The preceding portion of Studio 512 was sponsored by Landers Premier Flooring. The following portion of Studio 512 is sponsored by Mother's Milk Bank at Austin. The mothers of preterm and sick infants are often those who are least likely to be able to provide milk for their babies, and it's the reason why Mother's Milk Bank at Austin was created. MMBA saves babies' lives by providing prescribed, pasteurized donor human milk, and Executive Director Kim Updegrove is here to tell us more. Kim, let's start by talking about the difference between a milk bank and community sharing of milk.
I'm glad you asked this question. So a milk bank is a formal organization. It's a nonprofit organization that screens moms who are healthy and lactating and producing more milk than their baby needs. They get to donate that milk, and the milk then is made safe for tiny, vulnerable infants. And those in particular are babies who are born very premature, so very small, small enough to fit in my hand, or they are born full term but with heart and stomach anomalies that lead them to be able to only tolerate human milk feedings. We are the place that makes that milk safe after it's been donated. Very different from community sharing.
Okay, it is incredible what you guys do for our community. And I know it's the largest milk bank in the United States, right?
That's true. So we didn't set out to be the largest, but it turns out that we've answered a lot of the science questions and a lot of the research, and so we serve the largest number of hospitals around the US. There are so many of these babies born every single year. 60,000 of them are under 3.5 pounds when they're born. So very fragile that only human milk can be fed to them.
I just want to make a call out to anybody who's watching this morning who might find themselves in this exact situation, in a position where they might be able to give a little extra from what they're giving their baby. What would you say to them to get the process started?
I would say that every healthy lactating mother needs to consider today whether she can put aside 1 or 2 ounces of milk today, put it in her freezer, and over the course of the month, she's going to have enough to go through the screening process and find out that she can be a lifesaver. No one regrets saving the life of a baby. Becoming a lifesaver is as easy as becoming a milk donor, and I am begging the community to consider becoming a donor today.
Such important information, Kim, and thank you for all you do for our community. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Mother's Milk Bank at Austin needs your help. To show your support by donating milk, money, or time, go to milkbank.org. The preceding portion of Studio 512 was sponsored by Mother's Milk Bank at Austin.
She's a star of the stage and screen with an early start in Saved by the Bell as Jessie, and of course her pivotal role in Showgirls. She's coming to Austin for one night only very soon for a special anniversary presentation of the film. Elizabeth Berkley joins me now. Hello, Elizabeth, how are you?
Hi, I am so happy to be with you. This is such an exciting moment, and I'm just so grateful to be with you all in Austin.
Yeah, well, we're excited to have you, and I'm so curious to know. So, Showgirls, 30 years, such a important film, such a highly kind of criticized film, right? So I want to take you back in time a little bit. What does this film mean to you and your role as Nami in the film?
Well, it's an amazing thing, and it just goes to show that you never know in life how something might be received one way at a certain time, and then things find their way and transform. For example, obviously back in 1995, it was a different time in the culture, and this film has, we have incredible filmmaker who did Basic Instinct, and at the time it just made sense on every level for me as a young actress and a dancer. I had trained my whole life to play this role that now has become this iconic film and has a real place in pop culture and has been embraced and celebrated by cinephiles, by the LGBTQ community. Academics investigate this film and write about it, and it's incredible that it through the years has found its way, and is so beloved now. And my character Nomi was fierce and a little bit ahead of her time, and I think now playing really strong female roles, it's something you see on television now and film. It's maybe not as surprising, and so I think, even going back to playing Jessie Spano, who was a little bit ahead of her time as a feminist on Saved by the Bell, I'm grateful I've been able to play roles that really kind of are bold and strong. And as a young woman, I wasn't afraid to do that. And as a woman now, embodying that strength. And of course, I'm a mother now, and there are new type of roles that I love exploring. But to be able to celebrate this film now truly with audiences that have loved it for many years and audiences who are discovering it now. I know people come up to me in their 20s, they love it. Nomi is a character for them that reminds them to be unapologetic about who they are and stand in their truth and their power. And I love that. And so I'm really thrilled to bring it to you all at the Paramount as the first kickoff of a tour where we're going to go to different cities. But to celebrate in Austin makes sense to me. It's a city I love. And it's a city that celebrates film, art, literature, music in such a warm, embracing way. And of course, the LGBTQ community is visible and vibrant, and I love that. And Paramount Theater, what better place? This historic cinema.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love so much of what you're saying, especially when it comes to kind of the female representation of this, right? I think that you were a revolutionist in your own right back in your early career. And so to see so much change and evolve, and for you to stand for so much as a young actress, I think means a lot to a lot of people. Now, this event we keep teasing at the Paramount here on October 9th, kind of tell our audience, what are they in for with this event? What can they expect if they're coming?
Oh, well, for me personally, I'm so excited to, we're going to obviously screen the movie, but there are a few surprise fun activations. There is a Q&A. This is really the first time in all these years I've had people, the press, let's say, kind of share and tell my narrative. They've imposed on me for many, many years, but I am so looking forward to connecting with the audience and really just sharing some behind the scenes stories and really my personal narrative that I haven't had a chance to share, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm also just looking forward to saying thank you to this incredible community that has held this movie up and, like I said, embraced it all these years. And also, so it's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be meaningful. And we're going to really, it's obviously a beautiful theater. It's a big theater, but I think there's going to be an intimacy to the night that's going to feel like this movie brings people together. People have told me they watch it every year with a group of friends. And so to gather with a group of like-minded audience members who have loved it, or like I said, are seeing it for the first time, there's such joy when people come together. I also expect people to dress up in their best Versace, which, for those who know, is a term from the movie that my character so innocently coins when she buys her first Versace dress. But a lot of people, when they watch the movie, they, through the years, love to dress up. And so that camp aspect is something that I think is just going to be a lot of fun. And then there's also a VIP meet and greet where I'm going to be doing photo ops. So I think it's going to be a really kind of treasured, meaningful thing for people to have as a takeaway, and fun merch, and just a joyful night. Lots of fun. Lots of fun. We need that right now. We need just some playful joy.
Yeah.
And I also know, you know, while this movie means a lot to a lot of people, just kind of standing in their own power and that invitation to do so, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Let's like it is too.
30th anniversary of Showgirls at the Paramount Theater, October 9th with Elizabeth Berkley live in person. You guys don't miss it. Elizabeth, thank you so much.
I can't wait to see you all, and a little goddess hands to get you going, and wear your rhinestones, your best Versace. Can't wait to see you there.
We have a lot of fun here on Studio 512. If you missed any of our great segments, be sure to check out our website where we like to post the fun things we do. Our feed covers content like arts and entertainment, food and drink, fashion and beauty, home and garden, stuff for kids and pets, as well as information from area experts. In addition, you can check out web-exclusive content that you can only find on Studio512TV.com. We also love to post behind-the-scenes funny moments, outfit inspirations, and more on social media. Find us by searching for Studio 512 on your favorite platform. You don't want to miss a single post. Be sure to follow us, check out our website, and watch us every weekday at 11 a.m. right here on CW Austin. Content segments during Studio 512 were paid for by CPI Health, Landers Premier Flooring, Mother's Milk Bank at Austin, and Austin Telco Federal Credit Union.